Muchas gracias, señora presidenta. Muy buenas tardes, señoras y señores. Yo soy de la Agencia de Corporación Japonesa Internacional MEDE. Muchas gracias por darme la oportunidad de explicar las recomendaciones de
for action post-HFA. Today, I have picked up 3 recommendations for post-HFA to be emphasized. Based on the JICA's experience as the implementing agency of Japanese ODA, Official Development Assistance, and in addition, based on the international trends such as mainstreaming disaster risk reduction. First one is to clearly mention on the promotion of DRR investment leading by the government in the priority for action of post-HFA. If the people can escape from the disaster but they lost property, they can't get away from negative chain between disaster and poverty. It means the base of development is to decrease the economic loss in addition to save the people's lives by reducing the risks and tackling with the structural measures even though cost budget. The best mix approach, both structural and non-structural measures are needed. Why the government are difficult to allocate the budget to DRR, especially prior investment? There are some reasons. Some of them are that it is difficult to set up indicators of DRR target and effect, and also difficult to show how contribute to the sustainable development. DRR investment is not cost, which doesn't expect return, but necessary asset, which contribute social and economic development. In Japan, 1916, more than 50 years ago, when the GDP per capita by purchasing power parity was less than 2,000 US dollars. Even so, the budget for disaster reduction was between 5% to 8% of the proportion to the general account budget every year. Japan continues to allocate DRR investment not only the period the serious disaster occurred, but also normal situation. Second stress point which should be emphasized in post-HFA is on the importance of risk assessment. JICA is ahead of trying to input the disaster risk assessment to all projects before the project implementation. On the disaster risk assessment, information and data based on the reliable hazard and risk analysis are very important. The disaster statistics, including the small-scale disasters such as less than 10 deaths toll and less than 100 affected people, is not negligible. Third point is to consider Build Back Better in the reconstruction stage. Build Back Better means reconstruction must take account of future hazards and risks. That means the reconstruction is not to return to its original, but make toward the resilient society and community. Also, when the reconstruction stage, we have opportunities to promote the DRR investment guided by the government. JICA eagerly recommends the DRR investment before the disasters as mentioned, but it may be very difficult because of the limited budget in reality. The government is hard to gain the public's understanding for the prior investment for disaster reduction on unidentifiable disasters occurred in the future, tend to put priority immediate need of economic and social infrastructure. The clear policy for building the disaster resilient society in the reconstruction stage after the disasters is necessary at least, all the more for the difficulty of the prior investment. Today, I mentioned 3 recommendations in the post-HFA to be emphasized. First, promotion of DRR investment by the government. Second, strengthening of disaster risk assessment. Third, building back better into the reconstruction stage. That is my presentation. Thank you very much for your attention. See you in Sendai.
Ahora sí.
I was saying that we are going to have a final presentation. We have a list of organizations that have prepared statements, and they are going to be included in our website because of time constraints, especially because a lot of people have planned to go back home after the closing ceremony, and so it is extremely important that we keep a strict eye on our times. After this last presentation, we will continue with the closing ceremony. Good afternoon. The International Federation of the Red Cross believes that disaster risk reduction is an important contribution to building more safe and resilient communities, and it's very important that we work within the framework of Hyogo. We apply vulnerabilities and capacities and analyze the communities where we act in the Red Cross, and it would be very important to include this locally. In America, the Red Cross only in 2013, through its 5,000 local offices, managed to benefit 3.3 million people with international resources that are multiplied at the national and local level. The International Federation of Red Cross is committed to take the leaders of 35 national societies in the Americas the following recommendations in a process previous to the Global Conference of 2015 to increase awareness on the impacts of daily threats, recurring daily threats, to a lower scale, such as underlying inherent risks to sustainable development. Most losses by disasters are due to small and mid-size silent disasters, which are relatively frequent and tend to be underreported, and they affect development. The Hyogo framework of action should have indicators that reflect losses and loan or credit conditions locally facing reoccurring disasters. For example, the resources invested by the Red Cross in the continent show us that only 6% of the disasters were regional and 82% had a national and local impact, causing harm that is ever growing and growing vulnerability at the community level. We have to give priority to people in situations of vulnerabilities and greater risk. Impacts affect in a disproportionate manner those countries of low income. Government organizations need to be strengthened to have greater resilience capacity in order to favor the vulnerable and marginalized groups of society. The agendas for this risk management should make a priority those under greater risk, especially those who live in remote areas that are affected by insecurity or conflicts, migrant populations affected by impacts of climate change, and those populations that live under urban overpopulation. The Red Cross is increasing its collaboration and coordination with national and local governments to develop joint efforts that will empower the most vulnerable communities. For this to get greater levels of security and resilience, we need to broaden and integrate the participation of indigenous and Afro-descendant populations, as well as the disabled, elderly, in creating community resilience. We must try to get communities to undertake the leadership towards resilience. They must be agents of change, allowing for healthy and safe livelihoods for all. To get the communities committed with resilience ideals, they must be organized, they must be empowered as creators of their own destiny and transformation. Resilience is product of a dynamic community that promotes and proposes and acts in and is linked to other actors. This requires changes in the regulations, values, perceptions, and an attitude to risk by the population, as well as changes in institutional legislation and public policies. Let's keep in mind that for community participation to be effective, they need to be involved in the decision-making processes to achieve a lasting impact in these processes. Assistance of reference centers of the Red Cross to the Americas help potentiate the capacities of the national societies, of the communities of knowledge, and of different stakeholders. Continuous support of institutions that have trusted on the work of the Red Cross allow us to harmonize tools and methodologies that contribute towards achieving community resilience. Strengthening local risk management is an essential priority that requires changes in the public policies and new regulations to improve the participation and the development of capacities, capacity building at the local government level, including flexible funding, decentralized funding that will support local actions, as well as promoting a culture of social inclusion, alliances and partnerships with other stakeholders. Our role, the role of the Red Cross, makes us develop these aspects of local risk management for communities. We're committed on capacity building and training using our network that reaches tens of thousands of people every year, as well as including tools of innovation and virtual learning. And finally, to strengthen the regulatory frameworks for disaster risk reduction that are a local priority, as well as the use of instruments to review decision-making regulations. Thank you. We will continue, ladies and gentlemen. We will now begin this closing ceremony of the 4th Regional Platform for Disaster Risk Reduction in the Americas, and we would like to invite Mr. Ricardo Mena, Head of the Regional Office for the Americas of the Office of the United Nations for Disaster Risk Reduction, UNISDR, to address us. Thank you very much, Humberto. And before continuing with some words of gratitude, I would like to very briefly share with you a video that is 50 seconds long, and it is our first announcement on the UN Sasakawa Award for Disaster Reduction that is being launched now, and the winners will receive this award during the global conference in Sendai next March. Acknowledging excellency in risk reduction, disaster risk reduction, for a world that's safer and more sustainable. Acknowledging the people that have helped making our lives more safer. Please appoint a candidate for this prize. Process of nominations, nominate a candidate open until June 23, 2014. We will know the winners during the 3rd Global Conference in Sendai. We would like to incentivize all of you to participate. Very well, and the time has come to close this meeting, and obviously I would like to begin by thanking our excellent host, the government of Ecuador, represented by Mrs. María del Pilar Cornejo, Minister of Risk Management. It is difficult for me as an Ecuadorian to say that we have been made to feel at home. but I am going to represent Ms. Wallström, who has asked me to do so, to say on behalf of Ms. Wallström that during this meeting we have all felt at home. Pilar, thank you very much. And obviously the bar has been set very high for the next regional platform of the Americas. And I would like to thank also Pilar's team, as I know that they have been working at least for 7 months on the organization of this platform. Cecilia, Alina, Ana Rosa, Sandra, you have all made really a wonderful job, and I would like to thank, obviously, all of the advisory council to the regional platform who steered us, guided us, and supported us throughout this event up to now. Thank you very much, dear members of the advisory committee. And obviously, I would like to thank all of our sponsors, particularly USA DOFTA and the government of Switzerland, who together with a long list of sponsors have made this event possible and have made it possible for many of you to be here today. Obviously, as head of the regional office, I am extremely grateful for all of the work and sacrifice of the Office of Panama to help carry out this event successfully. So once again, thank you.
Y así también a varias personas y
Also, other people who a lot of the time have a very low profile, but they should not be left unmentioned. We have had a team of liaison, our champions, who quietly have been working and supporting us in order to have a successful meeting. So thank you very much. And I would also like to thank the representatives from the media, the photographers, all of the hotel team, translators, interpreters, sound, cameramen, and all of the support group who has accompanied us throughout these meetings. And now we have to start working towards the fifth session, the fifth meeting of the regional platform for disaster risk reduction of the Americas. And I would like to take advantage of the podium to enthuse the countries to express their interest if they wish to host the next platform. As I have just said, the bar has been set quite high, very high. Let's hope that we have a platform that is as successful as this one. And finally, I would like to invite all of you to, after these discussions that we have held, that I think have been very productive and fruitful, to carry out a very active participation and to take a vigorous voice of the region in the process of organization for the global conference in Sendai, Japan. I believe that this region has a lot of input to have included. I believe we have many initiatives that are globally worth replicating, and I believe that the participation both of our government's representatives as well as the stakeholders should work tirelessly from now until March 2015 so that Sendai can hear loudly the voice of the Americas. Thank you very much. To officially close this fourth meeting of the Regional Platform for Disaster Risk Reduction of the Americas, we would like to invite Dr. María del Pilar Cornejo de Grunauer, Risk Management Minister of Ecuador, to share a few words with us. Thank you very much, Ricardo, for your kind words. I truly hope that you have felt at home. For us, the challenge has not only been the organizational aspects of the event, but to try to practice what we preach. This is to really show through the results of this event the road that we have already traveled regarding risk reduction, a road that leads us to development and to the eradication of poverty in our region. I would also like to show our leader, who's always inspiring us, that we have just started on this road. We have just embarked on this road, that there's a lot of work to be done so that this awareness of prevention is implicit in all of our actions, not only as authorities but also as citizens. The advantage of this meeting is that we are shown that we are not alone, and precisely this teamwork, this common agenda that we have discussed in the meeting is what has allowed us to truly share experiences, so that this right to knowledge here has been fully brought about, because each one of us takes somebody else's knowledge with them. The experience that we have lived here is also very useful to break through paradigms and to be able to exchange horizontally and in a transparent manner what we do. In our specific case, we hope to represent adequately the region, together with Jamaica, in the Caribbean and Latin American group in preparation to the Sendai 2015 conference. We also hope that we have contributed towards having a more inclusive meeting for those of us with disabilities, and that in the future we must not forget and leave aside children, young people. I would like to thank all of you who have left behind your offices and families for 3 and more days to share your work with us. I would like to thank you for coming here, especially with openness, to present the results of all the work that has been carried out throughout the Americas. I would like to express my thanks to the United Nations team in this co-organization of the event, and really in a very special manner my team. They know how demanding I can be, and I think they have really responded, not only for those who are present here, and I would like to ask you for a warm round of applause, please, for them, but also for many others who are joining us online and who were sending me messages saying, we can hear the conference, we like the presentations, so thank you all. I would also like to thank the people who are following this meeting online, and I would like to help the staff who helped us in the organization of the event, the hotel staff, and also the media, and I have a very special message for them. I think the role today, when information through fiber optics, satellites, etc., is transferred at the speed of light, it becomes extremely important, first of all, to inform on issues related to prevention. Secondly, not to exaggerate when we have a situation of emergency, because those exaggerations can stress even further a population who is already under stress. Thirdly, please, help us along the way. If we make mistakes, let us know, but in a constructive manner. I believe that the role of the media is something that should also be included in Sendai. Thank you very much for being here, for participating. I declare the event closed. I hope to see you back in Ecuador, hopefully on a holiday. Thank you.